Season 2 of the Pressbox, an opportunity for us to talk with you and not at you. I'm your host, Cynthia Graham. Joining us this evening is Education Commissioner Raquel Berry Benjamin, my boss, to discuss the reopening of public schools for students in grades pre-K through 3rd, special education, and career and technical education. We welcome your questions and feedback, so please log them in the comments section right here on Facebook. Members of the education team are also online with us and will answer questions as quickly as they can get to them. It has been a long road for the Department of Education, moving 12,000 students territory-wide from in-person instruction to virtual learning, working to connect all of our public school students and teachers digitally, and delivering thousands of meals to students in their neighborhoods in the No VI Child Goes Hungry Feeding Initiative. The department has faced and overcome many challenges. In January, the Department of Education announced the reopening of public schools for in-person instruction. And Commissioner, welcome. Glad to have you on the show this evening.
Thank you for having me here at the Pearl B. Lawson Pre-K-8 school under the leadership of Principal Loretta Moorhead.
Yes, Commissioner, so let's get right into it. So parents are asking, why has the Department of Education determined that now is the right time to reopen schools, specifically for the groups of students that we mentioned earlier?
Yes, our decision to reopen schools have always been a binary decision. First, based on the impact of the COVID-19 virus under the Department of Health's guidance, as well as the number of safety resources that have arrived to our island to safely equip our schools for reopening. You know, this is a health pandemic, and we have to follow the guidance of the health professionals, the health experts, and we've done a really good job keeping in contact with our national guidance, specifically the Centers for Disease Control, as well as the department, our local Department of Health, with Commissioner Encarnacion and her team. And we've had several collaborative meetings around whether or not it is the time to reopen schools. And of course, their guidance has always been the impact of the virus and the resources. So as we work together, we evaluated both factors, and right now at this time, we're in a safe place, not the safest, but safe place, right. COVID-19 wise.
Right.
And as it relates to our resources, we do have a number of resources that arrived in our territory, enough for us to feel safe returning our students.
And Commissioner, if you want to touch also on some of the data that outlines why our younger learners, our special education students and CTE students, why it's important for them to be in class
certainly
in person now.
Yes, certainly. You know, various research for many years have shown that our youngest learners learn best socially in classrooms among peers, and under the guidance of the teacher. So it's very important for us to return that age group, yet it's really the reason why they're not in school. You know, so it's a catch-22. But it's important that they are in this environment because they learn from observation and watching the behaviors of the teacher, their peer students, teachers having the ability to model what should be done and what should not be done, how things are done. Very important, listening to conversations, listening to dialogue and engaging in dialogue with their peer students. Very important for our youngest learners. As it relates to our special needs students, many of them, especially those with strong developmental needs, they rely on tactile environments, for example, and require the engagement of a therapist in some cases. So it's very important that they return to the classroom as well to receive those services. And our CTE students, Korean technical education students, they're skill-based. So a lot of what they do requires hands-on learning. And it may be physically in the classroom, on a school campus, or out into the world of work for on-the-job training and other, apprenticeship opportunities. The key thing is that they also require a number of credits to complete the program, and that requires their physical involvement. Of course, it's going to be new and unique to do that socially distancing, but it's nothing we can't handle. Being creative at the VIDE is what we do best to educate students.
Great. So all good reasons for bringing our youngest learners, our special education students, and our CTE students back into the classrooms. And so, Commissioner, when you're meeting with your principals and your teachers and you're talking to parents, what have they asked you to do as Commissioner to make sure that the schools are safe for students to return to?
With a compassionate heart and a genuine spirit, our parents truly want their child or children to be safe.
Absolutely.
And we hear that. As a parent myself, having raised children that actually went through the public school system as well, I totally get it. I totally understand. And what they want is that the child is safe. They want to know that when they drop the child off to school, that the child is in good hands, as they usually are. And we're committed to making sure that once children enter our school campuses, that they are safe in a COVID-19 era. So they asked about masks, if students are going to have to wear masks, if we're going to have masks available for them in case the mask that they come to school with is for some reason damaged, lost, or misplaced. And that's a yes. We've procured masks to have on campus so that anything happens, we're prepared to give a child or a faculty staff, a faculty member, a mask. They've asked about cleanliness of the environment and the classrooms. And we reassured them that our cleaning supplies are EPI approved, and they are actually on the list, the CDC list, on the website, the CDC website, which we're pleased because these are cleaning resources that we have used at the Department of Education for a number of years before COVID. So the sanitization will continue, and our custodial workers remain at our school campuses to ensure that the facilities and frequently touched areas are cleaned, sanitized, with the transitioning of students from week to week in the St. Croix district, as well as every 2 days in the St. Thomas St. John district. They also asked about temperature checks. What if a child comes with a temperature? How do we know? And we, of course, have provisions in place where our students will be checked at the gate once they arrive in the morning.
And I imagine that parents would want to know about safety signage throughout the campus, outlining the new procedures that would be required
yes.
of campus life.
And they've seen them throughout the community, whether in common stores and shopping malls or whatever it may be. And we do have the directional signs on our campuses, and that's very important. At the beginning of the school year, the department announced that we will be having a soft opening. And that was very important for that specific reason. Our students have to be acclimated to our school campus. And a part of that soft opening was learning those directional signs, learning how to keep 6 feet apart, understanding what it means to say hi to a friend without physically touching them, as well as the teacher, because our youngest learners love to hug.
Sure.
So we have to show them how to do that from a distance.
Well, Commissioner, speaking of our youngest learners, we actually have a wonderful clip of 2 parents visiting the brand new Sugar Apple Preschool at the Bowski Elementary School there in St. Thomas. So let's take a look.
Good day. My name is Daphne Gonzalez Thomas, principal of the Yvonne E. Milliner Bowski Elementary School. As you can see on the bathroom, we have a sign that says, for your safety, this restroom is regularly disinfected. The restrooms on this campus will be cleaned every hour by the custodians to assure that the students are safe. Okay. This is our therapeutic kindergarten classroom, which looks slightly different from the Sugar Apple Preschool. If you look at the lines on the floor, you will notice that the students will be seated again 6 feet apart, but in each square, there's a desk with a plexiglass affixed to each of the desks, so the students know to keep within their section. This is a kind of way of providing barriers so students can follow. In this particular classroom, we have about 7 students right now. 7 students right now, and only 5 will be reporting, so that's why you see 5 desks is available, and the other students will be receiving virtual instruction.
I feel that there is kids that do need the in-school attention, so I agree with kids returning to school. There are some parents that doesn't know how to interact with the child on a school basis, so they do need that teacher-student attention. So I do feel it's a good thing to return to school. For the protocols, as in the classroom, after my talk, I was very pleased. I was very happy with how they have the classroom set up with the plexiglass, how they have the hand sanitizer at the door, the basket that has the extra stuff in case a child doesn't have or a child forget. I was pleased with the bathroom setting where everything is handless, you don't have to touch anything.
I have no problem with the kids returning to Bowski as long as proper protocols are adhered to. Parents should be more involved in discussing with or talking with members of our administration in regards to getting the kids back in school as efficiently as possible.
Well, that was great. It's wonderful seeing our parents participate in that tour there at the new Sugar Apple Preschool at Bowski Elementary. And so we are going on a break, and we'll be right back to continue the conversation.
The Virgin Islands Department of Education is hiring.
My career as a chef and entrepreneur would not be possible without the incredible public school teachers who saw my potential and pushed me to excel.
My career in the Virgin Islands National Guard as an aviator began with great Virgin Islands public school teachers who exposed me to experiences that continue to impact my life today.
Public school educators change lives. We're looking for academic teachers, career and technical education teachers, paraprofessionals, and school nurses. Visit vide.vi/jobs to learn more about our careers. Join the VIDE team today.
In light of social distancing, driving students to and from school is preferred. Temperatures will be checked before students are allowed on campus.
Masks are required while on campus and are a part of the school uniform. Observe safety signs for social distancing and other important information around campus. Desks will be 6 feet apart,
reducing the amount of students in one classroom.
Cafeterias will be closed. Breakfast and lunch will be served in classrooms or in a grab-and-go format.
You will have the option of going to campus some weekdays or staying at home to learn.
School will be different this year.
But if we do our part, learning is guaranteed.
Well, welcome back, and we continue our conversation with Commissioner Barry Benjamin. So, Commissioner, earlier in our conversation, you mentioned masks. You talked quite a bit about masks. Will students and teachers be required to wear masks all day throughout the school day?
Yes, every person on our school campuses are required to wear a mask. Masks should be worn in 30-minute intervals. We should take a break every 30 minutes. We have scheduled breaks on our student schedules throughout the day, or as needed.
Right.
If you need a break before 30 minutes, then definitely our students and teachers and adults alike will be required to take those breaks.
Great. So let's talk about something that students and parents love and can appreciate: food.
Who doesn't like
Who
that?
doesn't like food? Who doesn't like having a good hot meal? So while we're bringing students back to campus, will students who have opted to remain at home, because we've given students the opportunity in those student groups that are returning to also remain at home. So it's students who are continuing to learn from home, will they still have the opportunity to have meals?
Yes, providing a nutritious meal is at the core of educating children. And we take pride in being able to provide breakfast and lunch to our students, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic. So we have distributed to date about 399,000 meals since the start of the 2020-2021 school year.
That's fantastic.
Yes, and with those students returning, they will receive a meal in school. Meals will be brought in some cases to the student. On some campuses, there's a meal station where students will walk the campus, rotate, and go full circle, pick up meals, and go back to class.
And this is because cafeterias are closed.
Commonly used areas are closed, such as playgrounds, cafeterias, etc., under the CDC guidelines and recommendations. And the students at home, they will also continue to receive meals. So our distribution sites throughout the community are going to remain open for breakfast and lunch. And we're happy to provide those meals because it helps us to achieve our overall end goal of student achievement.
Wonderful. Commissioner, when it comes to having a nurse available on campuses, how will principals manage students who report to school ill or become ill during the school day? Will a school nurse be available?
Yeah. So the isolation room is a room specifically to house students and adults who may be exhibiting symptoms of the COVID-19 pandemic. And that area is where they will wait students, for example, for parents to come and pick them up from the school campus, or for adults who may be needing a ride home, for their ride to come to pick them up from the school campus.
Great, great. So a lot of safety measures are in place at our campuses to keep everyone safe. So Commissioner, let's talk transportation to and from school. We know some of our students require school bus service. What do parents need to know about the safety of their children while riding the school bus?
The first option that we ask is that our parents transport their child or children to our school campuses. And that is important because we have to reduce the amount of students riding our school buses in light of COVID-19. So our students are required to enter the bus, board the bus with a mask, and sit 6 feet apart. So that says the number of students riding our buses have been reduced in order to maintain that 6 feet social distancing. Once they arrive to the school campus, they will be checked, temperature checked, and then they either go to their classroom or they go to the isolation room, depending on the result of the temperature check.
Great. So Commissioner, of course, vaccines have rolled out here in the territory, at least for maybe 2 months now, and the Department of Education have offered vaccines through Vitima. Our teachers, our staff members have been able to access the COVID-19 vaccine. We know parents would want to know, are teachers being vaccinated? Are they required to be vaccinated?
Yes, many of our teachers have already been vaccinated. Is it required? Not at this time. It's not a mandatory requirement clearly throughout the Virgin Islands to be vaccinated. But many of our teachers see the importance of being vaccinated and have taken the step forward to be vaccinated. Can we monitor that at this point? Not 100%. Our staff have the option of going to their private physicians, and we cannot track that. However, those that are utilizing our public opportunities to be vaccinated We will have some form of tracking eventually with the Department of Health. And I'm excited. I've taken my vaccination and I feel great.
Great, great, wonderful. And so, Commissioner, so we've been talking about reopening schools. When are schools going to reopen?
That's the big question. The magic question. So I hear that question at least 10 times a day. And it's an important question. The Department of Education does not have a set date for all schools. We will have a series of dates to reopen our schools. And that is because each school requires a different level of resources to complete its reopening. The smaller schools require less resources. Our larger schools require more resources. And using different vendors to order these resources, they arrive at different times. Sure. So as they arrive, we equip our schools, and eventually one school may be open on this date, maybe 5 schools may come online on one specific date, and maybe schools across both aisles may open on a specific date. So similarly to when we reopen schools after the hurricane season, we will be reopening schools on a staggered basis.
Great. So, I mean, a lot of good plans in place for our students and staff as it relates to reopening our school campuses, because of course our schools are still operational, but virtually.
Yes.
But lots of good plans in place for reopening school campuses. Well, Commissioner, thank you for sharing all of that good information about the reopening of our schools. But it looks like we've come to the end of our conversation this evening. And I want to encourage our parents and students to please visit vide.vi for more information on the reopening of public school campuses, and also on our Facebook page, Virgin Islands Department of Education on Facebook. Lots of information, always updated regularly right there on Facebook. Well, thank you for joining us this evening, and we look forward to connecting with you on the next Pressbox.